Hello everyone. I thought I'd take a few minutes today and work on getting this bridge installed. I think I've shown this to you before. It's the 3-foot bridge, 6 inches wide. I don't have the track on here yet, but what I'm going to do is work on getting the installation blocks installed here and also back on the other side here. Once I get those installed, I'll explain a little bit more about the mounting process that I'm going to use. But so my first step is to figure out just exactly where the base of the deck is going to hit, and I need to make the base of the bridge, the deck of the bridge, exactly even with the top of the cork roadbed. So that's the track is going to come exactly off the roadbed right onto the bridge deck and then onto the other side. So what I'm going to do here is get this set in place. I'm going to take a straight edge mark underneath the bridge deck here where the top of my support goes, and then I'll be back with the process on how I'm going to get that installed, and once I get the support installed, how I'm going to attach the bridge deck to the supports. So I will pause that, be back just in a few minutes. Alright, so I've got supports cut for both sides of the bridge here, and it's just standard old 2x6. This is going to be covered eventually with probably some of that adhesive material that looks like stone or brick, so I'm not even going to bother about painting this right now. I just want to get it set in place and attached with some screws, and then you know, we'll go from there. So I'm going to do this side first. Hopefully I didn't just knock everybody out of the picture. Let me make sure we're good here. All right. So step one is to go ahead and attach this at the proper height, and I'll mark the underside of the bridge with a pencil so I know where these should go. And I'm just going to use a couple of clamps here to hold it in place while I drill the holes and put the screws in. And I've got my torpedo level here to check for level left to right. And that needs to come up just a hair. And now it needs to come down just a hair. That looks pretty good. I just need to make a slight adjustment here. Alright, so obviously what I'm doing there is just getting the bubble in the center of the level. Everybody knows how to use a level. And I'm going to put one screw in the center here just to go ahead and hold this. And then I'll check it for level one more time, and I'll take off one of the clamps and put another screw in, and then a third screw. Okay, so it's a little bit high over there. I had a teacher in shop class in high school that said, don't ever use a tool for something it wasn't designed to be used for, like using this electric drill for a hammer. But, you know, sometimes you just got to do what you got to do. That is just... Alright. I think that's pretty good. So I'll go ahead and run one screw in here, take off that last clamp, and run the second screw in. Alright, hopefully I didn't have the entire shot blocked here. But yeah, we're good to go now. It's not going to move, obviously. But I'll put one more screw in here just for good measure. Alright, so that's going to hold that one tightly enough. Grab the bridge, test it. I've actually got the track in on the other side over there, so it's a little bit harder to fit in. All right, let me grab a piece of track here. That looks pretty good. Pretty level. Okay. So side one is in. I'm going to go ahead and mark the other side here, and I'll turn the camera around here so we can take a look at the other end. Alright. So let me mark this side. I forgot to do that. Sometimes it's not so easy to get down on the on the floor here without destroying something. Alright, so I've got that right even with that roadbed. Just draw my line under here. And obviously I want my support to be at the top of that line. So we'll take the bridge out. Alright, so that is supposed to be level. And I'm going to check this one more time just to make sure we're good. That's a little bit high over here. I'm thinking my table may not be quite level here. Luckily on the other side I was good to go. Alright, I think that's better. Much better. Alright. Get some screws here. And put one in the center. Need to get some more force behind this duro here. There we go. And I think I'm going to stand up here for this next one. Get some weight behind the duro. Alright, we're still good here. Guess I could have done this on the other side. Live and learn, as they say. put your weight behind it, it's a lot easier to put those screws in. And reset this one a little bit better. Tell you what, I'm going to take that one out. I think I kind of chewed that screw head up here, so let me put a new one in here. Alright, so that's better. I'll zoom out here a bit. That will be in, this will be out. And so the next step is to figure out where the bridge needs to sit. And this looks to be just about right over here. I'm going to adjust this far end a bit. And I think it is good. So I will show you what I'm going to use to attach this. I've got some flat Phillips head bolts here, and I've got some T-nuts here. And what I'm going to do is drill a hole into the support for the T-nut, and then drill a countersunk hole through the bridge and anchor it into the T-nut. You know, you may think that's a little bit of overkill, especially for a bridge that I'm going to have to take in and out when I come in here. You know, it is high enough to duck under, so if I'm you know, going to be using it quite a bit, I can leave it in and duck under it. Or if it needs to come out, you know, it's just 2 screws on either side. I don't have to get any kind of fancy clamps or anything else. And I'm going to wire a connector on each end. Obviously I'm going to have 2 main lines here, so there'll be 2 bus leads crossing the bridge. And what I thought I would do is just put those wires up on the back underside of the bridge here with the connectors, so that they won't be so obvious. But so that's what I'm going to do right now, is go ahead and drill what I think is about the center of the bridge here, and go down through here with a pilot hole so I can tell where to then drill the T-nut. So I don't know if I have any drills up here, so I'm going to pause the video and I'll be back in just a minute with my drills. Okay, so back with the drill, and I've installed a 17/64 drill in here. Just wanted to sound official like all those other model railroad guys that are exacting. But anyway, the 17/64 is the size I need, so it's got just a little bit more clearance than the diameter of the bolt that's going to go through there. Obviously don't want the bolt to cinch up at all into the bridge. I don't want the threads to catch on the bridge. That's what I'm trying to say. So I'm going to now make sure I get my bridge centered correctly so the tracks, the roadbed is equidistant from each side. And I am now going to drill a hole in here. So obviously I want to be as close to the center of the bridge, left to right, and I also want to be as close to the center of my 2x4 here, or my 2x6 as possible. And the reason, first of all, the reason I'm using a 2x6 is obviously for the width. And it's about 7 inches long here. Obviously I had to get down into the framework of the layout. Couldn't attach it to the foam, so that's why I've got, you know, this big old piece here. And fascia, you know, whenever it goes on, it'll come up to the edge here, and then I'll put, you know, some kind of decorative touch on the support. So let's drill. And that is kind of what I did not want to happen. Let me try that again. I just want to make sure I get a pilot hole down. Alright, that should be enough. And I think I'm going to complete this one side before I attach the other side. That way it'll hold it a little bit more firmly. So let me just back this out of here. And just make sure that my T-nut is going to fit all right in there. And that's going to need to be a little bit bigger. So let me put a little bit slightly bigger drill in here. I think I'm going to need just up one more size. And this is 1964s, so that should about do it. Alright, so that's good. So the way these T-nuts work, if you haven't seen them before, at least that's what they're called here in the States to my subscribers across the pond and down under, it's basically a threaded nut which has little prongs on the end that you pound into the surface so it keeps it from twisting. So I've got that set in there where it needs to go, and I'm just going to take a hammer and pound this down. What you want to do if you've got screws or anything like this attaching a piece is you always want to have a weight underneath what you're pounding against so it doesn't move. So I've got a 5-pound sledgehammer I'm going to put just under here and hold this while I pound the T-nut in. So as you see, it goes in fairly easily. And just going to make sure that my threads are good. Alright, now the next thing I want to do is I want to countersink the bridge deck so that the head of the screw will fit down flush with the deck. So I'm going to find another drill here, and it's going to have to be fairly large, and that looks like it right there. And if you're keeping score, I don't know what that one is because I can't see the size, but it's I don't know, it looks to be about 3/8. Alright, so countersinking can be a little tricky, and what I want to do is just drill down in deep enough to go into where this drill comes past the taper, and hopefully that the head of that screw will fit down in there. If not, I'm going to have to get a bigger drill. Alright, so let's go with this. And let me just run this up to high speed here instead of high torque. And I don't want to go too deeply here all at once, so let's check this out. I think that's actually going to work pretty well. I'm going to get the sawdust out of there. And I can actually maybe go just a hair deeper. I don't know if you can see that, but you know, then again, I really don't want to mess this up much. It actually looks pretty good. Let me just try and straighten that out a hair. And I think that is going to work pretty good. Let me get the drill out of the way. Alright, so there you go. Obviously I'll paint that black so it won't be seen, but you know, nice solid connection there. So I'm going to do the same on the other side. And you know, I'm not going to make you watch the same process again. As soon as I finish, I will come back. Alright, so I've got the second side of the bridge in now, and you know, it's really steady. It's not going anywhere. So it'll take a pretty solid knock, you know, and it doesn't shift. So you know, so I was slamming on the side of the bridge there, but I guess my arm was the only thing in the shot. But anyway, let me just zoom out here a bit. And you can take a look at the bridge in place. So what I'm going to do now is the same technique back on the other side of the layout. And let me just zoom around here so you can see that. And it will be the two bridges across the door. Obviously those are single track, so instead of using a 2x6, I'm going to use a 2x4, and they are sitting, a couple of them are sitting in the back corner there. So I just want to measure those up, get them in place, and I will be back and show you those. The only difference being with these, you know, and right as I'm saying this, I may be changing my mind here. I was just going to use a regular screw to attach these, because the only time that I go through that door is at Thanksgiving and Christmas to get the decorations in and out of storage in the attic. So I'm thinking that I may decide to use these T-nuts again, only because using a screw over time, even though it may be over a couple of years, the screw hole that is going to be in that support is going to get loose. You know, it's going to widen out, and eventually it's going to allow that bridge to wobble. So I think before I do that, I'll go ahead and get them all measured up and set in place and so forth, and the holes drilled. But then I will go ahead and buy a couple more T-nuts and use that to attach these bridges in place. So I will be back shortly and at least show you the supports on those bridges in place. Okay, so I changed my mind after I got over here and got the support installed, and what I've done is I've put a screw either side of the track on this one. I'm just going to go with this for now because I really didn't want to run out to Lowe's on Memorial Day. I don't know if they're open or not, but anyway, I've got two on this end, and down here at the other end of the bridge I've got two more. This bridge is made out of balsa wood completely, where the other one, you know, the 3-footer, is made. The deck is made out of 2¼ inch by 6 by 36 pieces of plywood, so it's a bit firmer. This one is still structurally sound, as you can see. Let me zoom back out here, and you know, I'm pushing on that pretty hard and it doesn't flex, so it's going to be strong enough for sure. What I'm going to do right now is go ahead and set the second piece, second bridge in here, put this one support over here, and then I'm going to have to go out to the construction site and scavenge a piece of 2x4. So once I get that done, I will show you the results of that. Alright, so I've got the other two bridges in, and also see I've got a clamp still there where I don't need it, so let me take that down. Alright, so both bridges are in. The far one closest to the door actually has track on it. So what you're going to witness is the inaugural bridge crossing. Now there is no track on the left side of the bridge, you know, back where it touches land again. So hopefully I won't run the train completely off over there. Again, I've got a DC locomotive here that I'm using just for testing, and I'm going to run it with my battery charger. So I know this isn't orthodox, but you know, hey, it works for me. So here we go. Alright, so far so good, so let's see how it comes back down. Alright, looks pretty good. Pleased with that. And that was actually the inaugural bridge crossing. No pre-testing, no let's try this out before we film it. So worked well. Okay, so that F-45 that you saw right behind the Rio Grande loco there, that is one that I am currently having trouble with. I posted on the Facebook page and got a reply really quickly from Alan, and I think what I need to do is take off the worm gear tower covers and see if I can't free those things up, because right now it's a dummy. I have the engine and all of the gears out of the trucks. I took those out to clean them up, and I haven't obviously installed them yet because I want to make sure that I can get into the gear towers and get those cleaned. So right now this is just a really heavy dummy. Hopefully I can get things back together here and get this working, because I think I've said before, F-45s are kind of my favorite loco. I don't know why, I just like them. So I want to get that one running again. The Rio Grande, I have a decoder for it as well as the F-45. I think that Rio Grande is maybe a GP40, I'm not sure. And it doesn't say on there, or it could be a 40-2 or something. But I want to get that one all wired up for DCC. And so the last bridge, which is over here, is the one in front. It's in and attached. I don't have a piece of track across the middle yet. Obviously those two pieces on the end, those are a couple of plate girder bridges that are sitting on there, and the reason I did that was just to kind of get a different look. What I will do maybe at some point in time is maybe make some sort of a slide-in riverbed or something in there, maybe on some drawer slides. I don't know yet what I'm going to do there, but that was kind of a thought that I had, was to make a slide-in either riverbed or gulch, or maybe a highway through there. And as part of that, I would have two bridge piers that would slide in right under the ends of those plate girder bridges, towards the center of the bridge. So that's way down the road. Right now, I may have to put a couple of strips of balsa wood underneath that to keep it from sagging. It's fairly structurally sound, not nearly as good as the other bridges that have the diagonals in. I may have to go ahead and cut the diagonals in and place them in the center structure of that bridge so that it doesn't sag. And I may just do that here after a while. So let's see, what else can I show you? I think on the YouTube Model Builders Facebook page, or YouTube, yeah, you know which one I'm talking about. It slipped my mind here at the minute, but I think you saw this. This is part of my lumber yard, and my wood chip loading hopper comes off the side here. But anyway, what I have finished here is the concrete portion of the yard, the lumber yard, and I've got a track that goes through the building on the other side there. Let me take the camera off the tripod here so we can take a look at that. And what it does, it goes through the building and it connects back up to the main line here, just in front of that F-45 with a curved turnout. And these are all Pico turnouts in here, and I am pleased as punch with how these things perform. Using this alligator clip battery charger 12-volt thing with no speed control to test the turnouts has really been eye-opening, because I can run that engine at whatever speed it runs through any of those turnouts pushing or pulling that auto rack, and it hasn't derailed. So that's that's pretty amazing. I've been trying to come up with a name for this area. There's so dang many turnouts in here. I didn't know what to call it. You know, some kind of a crazy, funny junction name or something. But just to show you what I've got, on the inside main, there's a turnout here which initiates the crossover between the inside main and the outside main. You can see that long sweeping curve. Then right immediately after that, there's another turnout which connects the inside main to this run through of the lumberyard. So I've got two turnouts there. Up here on the other end of the crossover, obviously there's another, that's 3. There's another turnout back here on the outside main, which is 4, which allows me access to my grain silos. And then another turnout there, 5, so I can have a track going into the silos, into the loading area, and also another storage track. Coming back up the outside main, there's a 3-way turnout here. One side, the right side, goes to the auto rack storage siding, which will be in front of my auto plant. The center piece of that is the outside main, and the left side of that 3-way is the end of the the crossover back to the inner main. So that's what, 6 turnouts. Then here I've got number 7, which is the back side of the crossover. I've got 8 down here, which is into the lumberyard. I've got 9, which allows me to go through the lumber loading facility, and also another spur which is going to go through and underneath the wood chip loading hopper. I'm going to continue this spur here, which goes under the loading hopper, back to the right into this area. I don't know what I'm going to do yet with it, whether it's just going to be a spur so that I can run about 4 or 5 wood chip hoppers back underneath the loader, or I have this little warehouse which I can either put right there, and it's got loading doors on the other side of it, that I can have a loading dock and load box cars on one side, load trailers on this side. Alternatively, I could flip this around, and put it on this side so that it can load from here, but it would I don't think it would look very good, because who's going to run a boxcar full of stuff underneath a wood chip hopper just to get to this little truck warehouse? And I don't know, maybe it just makes more sense to put it here. So that's my thought anyways, to put it right there, and that way at least on this end of it I could have a parking lot. You can see the access doors there. So other than that, I think that's about it for updates. All of the track, with the exception of the extension of this siding, is down on section 1. I have one short piece between this turnout and the bridge, which I'm going to put in tonight, and I've actually already got it cut. I just need to put it in. So I'm going to do that tonight, and probably also go ahead and put in this center section of track on the bridge. So all my bridges will have track over here. I'm going to also put track on the long bridge, the 3-footer. Put both main lines down there, and then I'll probably lay some track on the right side where the glue bottle is, so I can make sure that I'm going to meet up properly from the other side of the bridge. So this one here, what's amazing so far is that I don't have any power run to these tracks other than the alligator clips down there on the end. So as you saw, there's continuity through the bridge right now, just with rail joiners. So that's pretty good. I had thought about not soldering the rail joiners on this layout, just because it's kind of a pain. And if I put feeders, you know, within each section of track, you know, every 2 or 3 feet, I should have enough continuity that I'm not going to have to solder rail joiners together. If each section of track has power to it, you know, the wheels for the engines are going to span any gaps there might be in the rail joiners and pick up power fairly quickly. So unless they're going like tremendously slow, and I don't think it's going to be enough to stall. So that's how I'm going to proceed. No soldering of rail joiners. You know, just wiring the bus wires directly to the track every couple of feet, and hopefully that'll be enough. The next most complex section of the layout that I'm going to work on over here is access to the coal yard. Let me move this mess out of the way here. So I'm going to have a turnout in here, somewhere in that area, and I'm going to have to fill in just to the left of that cork. There's a dip there, so I'm going to have to fill that in before I can go ahead and put track back there. Excuse me. But I've got the, you know, that's where the coal yard is going to sit. It's going to be not up against the wall, obviously. It'll be a little bit further to the left, but in that general vicinity is where it's going to be. So I'm going to probably work on this this coming week, towards the end of the week. I don't believe I'm going to have a chance to get any more done tonight back in this area. So as always, thanks for watching. Be sure to tune in to YouTube Model Builders Live. There's going to be a live show on June the 2nd at 11 p.m. or I'm sorry, June the 4th at 11 p.m. Central Standard Time, Central Daylight Time in the U.S. So if you're overseas or around the world, just find out what time it is in Dallas, Texas, and you can then adjust to your local time. But there's going to be a great bunch of guys on that inaugural show. Modeler Man Mike and Midwest Model Railroad have done a tremendous amount of work to put this show together, and I think it's going to be a great opportunity to hear and interact with your fellow YouTube modelers. You know, guys that I've subscribed to for years. You know, I'm going to get to share the stage with them on that first show. It's pretty exciting. What's nice about it, and I'm sure that this has been said before, but it's an interactive live show, and what I mean by that is that as you're watching the show, you can actually ask questions. You can type a question into a chat box and address it to either the person who's speaking or any of the other modelers who are on the show, and they'll be able to see that question and respond to it, you know, in real time, which is kind of cool. You know, usually any other live TV show, it's a one-way thing, but this is going to be two-way. It's going to be interactive, and I think it's going to be really great, and I'm proud to be on the inaugural show. I appreciate Mike asking me to join, and I'm looking forward to it. So hope to see you all, or at least hear you all, or listen to respond to questions from all of you on this 4th of June. And I, as always, appreciate your subscriptions, your comments, and for your watching my videos. Take care, guys. Just a quick wrap-up video here. I told you guys this bridge was structurally sound, and I know you thought I was kidding you, but I've got it, the track is glued to the bridge, and I've got bricks on it holding the track down. So there are 4 bricks in the center of that bridge, one on either end. Obviously this one's over here at it's over the support, but there is no bend in that bridge. There's probably 20 pounds of weight on that thing. So there you go. Anyway, thanks for watching. Talk to you later.